Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, a couple of comments have been made about congressmen and women handling complaints. It just seems like years ago, I wasn't in Congress, but I was on the other side of the military. It was all about Congress or congressional interest in things that happen in the military. And now, overwhelmingly, it's all about the VA. And quite frankly, you know, Congress doesn't get credit for a lot of things, but the one thing I think most of the people here, certainly on this committee, they actually cut through the red tape on this issue. And it's something that we pride ourselves. I don't have to poll everybody, but a couple of things I want to ask you. Your personal opinion of the senior executive service in general. Just short, good, bad, indifferent?
In my experience, they think that they're God.
Thank you. Thank you, First Sergeant. Is it okay if I call you First Sergeant, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah. By the way, I was going to go down. First Sergeant is much more powerful, important than a mister. You're a First Sergeant. You're like God. So, sorry, I had to throw that in there. And I appreciate what you've done for our country. Yes, ma'am.
I think that whatever it takes to become an SES doesn't mean you'd be a good leader. We recently had a director at our facility who had never worked at the Department of Veterans Affairs before. To me, I don't know how you can make a decision to see if something's correct or sign off on a large amount of money if you have never worked at our agency before.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, I truly believe that the SES service needs some revamping in terms of training, in terms of how they interact with middle management and the lower employees. I just don't see it as effective.
Thank you. In regards to manipulating claims, falsifying claims, destroying stuff, how many people do you think have been brought up on charges or sent to jail for violating those things or fined? Any? Small number?
Well, we had the scanning, we had the shredding incident back into.
But do you have a rough idea? Were there a lot of? The point I'm making, you know, we're talking about veterans in the military. You know, that's a court-martial offense.
Exactly.
If there would be a court-martial, there would be a trial, and many of them would get dishonorable discharges, or at least bad conduct discharges. Am I wrong? And so that kind of bothers me quite. The DD-214s. Everyone, at least when I was in the military, left the military, that was like the piece of paper, or that was it, that you had to have that. And to say that DD-214, some of them are in the file or not in the file, you know, I shouldn't admit this, but a number of years ago, when I had leukemia, submitted a claim about Agent Orange, and it was denied. And I understand that they didn't have the medical evidence. And then a number of years later, it came out, and so we said, we're going to test the system. So I went back and put the claim back in again. It came back, it was denied. Now, I can understand that. But it was denied because they had no record that I was ever in an area that had Agent Orange used. And my question, which I went back to the VA, was, where is the DD-214, the two Purple Hearts, the tours of duties, the operations that you went to combat as an infantry person? Do I have to give every location in Vietnam that I was at? No one read the DD-14. And until tonight, maybe it didn't occur to me that maybe that's not even part of the record anymore. And so I don't know. I get very emotional with these things.
Can I make a comment on that?
Yes.
A major suggestion that I would think that the VA needs to accept is there are a lot of civilians that work at the VA. I have never been in the military, and when I started working there, I was expected to know, when I look at your DD-214, how to tell with those codes that you were in Vietnam. I had no idea how to tell that you were ever in Vietnam. So I took it upon myself to learn those things on my own time. The FAA does not do that.
But if you get a Purple Heart in combat, it's not from, I'm going to get facetious because I'll say something about people in this town here, so I'll withdraw that. But you're absolutely right. I just think it's a basic part of the claim, and I feel there's this tremendous disconnect with Washington and the bureaucracies, and as the first sergeant said, the veterans. You know, we've lost that, and that's what we've been talking about. But
you should see if you served on a ship, what we have to go through to prove that you served on that ship or that the ship was in that water. So some people, because of production standards, don't take the extra mile to look through everything to figure out if your ship that you might have served on is on the list that were in the waters of Vietnam.
Well, somebody commented on me. They said that so long ago that I was in the military, it was on papyrus and it's disintegrated since that time. But I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.